Greetings. Welcome. This is Queen Elle from QueenElle79. Today's video we will cover a lot. We have so many different planetary transits that are taking place throughout the month of May, so stay tuned. Now, there's so much going on this month. So as you know, I have my planner to keep me on track. I tell you, in doing my research and tracking everything that's taking place in May, I mean, literally, like I can show you just a quick flash. That's the month of May, and there's a week where there is some type of planetary transit taking place, or an aspect between two planets taking place every day of the week. We have 3 retrogrades taking place. There's just a lot. There's so much. Now, I will tell you there is a common theme for the month of May, and my take on it is growth abounds. So there's a lot of growth that will take place throughout the month of May for all signs. I'll tell you, so the first thing is Mercury has 6 transits that take place throughout the month of May. So if you're not familiar, definitely please check out some of my other videos with regard to astrology. Regarding transits, so as you know, with Earth being our planet, Earth has an orbit around the sun. Well, all of the other planets, they have what are known as transits, and they go through or cross paths with other planets constantly, just as they're going along through their orbits. Well, there are different ways that the planets interact with each other. Some of them have positive interactions or aspects. Some of them clash with each other. Some of them are in complete opposition of one another. As we move on throughout a lot of these astrology videos, I will do a video that covers the different aspects, the different ways that planets interact with each other, because it does have an effect on all of us. It has an effect on our different zodiac signs, whether it's your sun, moon, or rising. It just has an effect on us overall. A lot of times we tend to focus on the retrogrades because those have such a negative connotation, specifically Mercury retrograde. However, there are many retrogrades of different planets that take place from time to time. Some of them have longer retrogrades than others, 18 months to 2 years even, depending on the planet. Mercury is the one that gets the most, catches the most slack, and the one that you'll see predominantly on social media. However, all of the planets have their own transits, and depending on the time of year, depending on the sign that the transit's taking place in, depending on where each planet, like what sign they're in when they have their interaction with each other, it just has a lot of bearing on the effect that we feel with regard to that interaction. So specifically for May, like I said, Mercury has 6 transits that take place, and Mercury is all about how you relate to and perceive others. So it has a lot to do with our interaction with other people, and those 6 transits, I'll tell you for the month of May, what I'm going to start doing, especially for heavy transited months, is I will do a breakdown week by week, just as far to go more in depth into what we can expect to take place the upcoming week, as well as the message that corresponds with regard to what our spirit guides want us to know and how we can navigate that week. Because I feel like that would be most insightful, especially for a busy month like May. So just to give a brief overview, that's the purpose of this video, just to give like high level for the month, what you can expect. So early in the month, Mercury has those 6 transits. They're literally happening one on top of the other. Mercury tends to move very quickly. So there's an interaction with the sun. That would be, well, actually the first one is May 1st, and that's Mercury conjunct Uranus, sorry, Mercury conjunct Uranus in Taurus. And so that's specifically regarding your creative growth. There will be creative growth that you'll see there. Then as we move on, the next Mercury transit is Sun conjunct Mercury in Taurus again. And that's a purposeful connection. So that's a good one because the Sun represents your purpose. So there will be a purposeful connection there. Then moving on to the 7th, Mercury in Taurus, sextile Neptune in Pisces. And sextile, that's one of the aspects that I will cover in more depth in future videos. But what you can expect is a positive relationship with others. So again, that's early May, so that's great. Then we have Mercury in Taurus, trine Pluto in Capricorn. And trine, as I've said on a previous video, is all about the gifts that each of those planets can bring to each other. They're truly a benefit to each other. It's like a great partnership, so to speak. So this one, you'll be open to change with regard to your interaction with others. So that's another positive interaction. Then as we start the week of April 10th, we will have those 3 retrogrades take place, one on top of the other. And the retrogrades are Saturn goes into retrograde. Now Saturn's retrograde is, let's see, the Saturn retrograde is from May 10th through September 28th. So it seems long. It's not nearly as long as some of the others. But with this retrograde, what you can expect is Saturn's specific to your personal responsibilities and the rules that you develop for yourself over time. So with regard to this retrograde, there may be some type of inflexibility with regard to those rules, some rigidity, and that's been a common theme over the past few weeks that I've been talking about. Now, the other retrograde is Venus. Venus will go into retrograde on the 13th of May, and that is from May 13th through June 25th, so not too long. But as you know, Venus is all about the things we enjoy, the things that we love, the things that make us feel comfortable and make us feel good. So with this retrograde taking place, there may be an issue with that. Now, that also coincides with Mars entering Pisces. And the good thing about that is it's all about exploring your flexibility, your creativity, your imagination. So because of the 2 of them happening at the same time, what I'm feeling is you will need to and want to embrace, excuse me, you'll want to embrace being imaginative with how you deal with matters of the heart, with how you deal with the things that you enjoy, get creative about them. And what we know now with everything moving to virtual interaction for the most part is you do have to get creative in the way that you interact with others. So I feel like social media puts up a good farce as far as virtual interaction, but now instead of faking it until you make it, you'll actually have to virtually communicate with people effectively. And this is all about being creative about how you do that, okay? And those things that you enjoy, you can get creative. You can still do some of the things that you enjoy. It's just about kind of turning, twisting your perspective and not looking at it in a sense of lack of not being able to do things the way that you used to, but now how can I still do the things that I enjoy doing, but do them in a new way? So it's all about that creativity. Then we have Jupiter retrograde that's taking place on the 14th. So like I said, these are literally right on top of each other, the 10th, the 13th, the 14th. So May 14th through September 12th. So that one is kind of coinciding with that Saturn retrograde. Now Jupiter, just to back up a bit, the Saturn retrograde, so Saturn is in Aquarius, and it's all about, like I said, kind of shifting those personal rules and not being so rigid in them, to actually tap into that creativity, because that creative force is something that's going on at the same time. With Venus, it's in Gemini, so it goes back to the whole notion of being creative again with Mars entering Pisces. So you'll see a creative theme here. You really have to get creative in how you interact with others and for your own personal growth so that you don't allow yourself to become stagnant during this time of kind of not necessarily solitude. I mean, it doesn't have to be. If you're someone that's always ripping and running and you're always in someone's face and having to be in the forefront of things typically, then this time of solitude, this can be a time of solitude for you, and that can be of a benefit to you because it's a piece of yourself that maybe you were lacking. You didn't have the time or the energy to spend with yourself up until this point. So it could be refreshing. For some people who don't like or want or desire that solitude, then that social virtual interaction will be of use to you. So it's about figuring out the best way to do that for you and to, like I said, to be effective in the way that you virtually communicate with others. Okay. Now that Jupiter retrograde, so Jupiter's in Capricorn, so it's all about hard work. It's all about being tenacious. Now Jupiter is specifically about your personal growth and also societal interaction. So it goes back to that communication that I mentioned before. And it's because it's about personal growth. This time, if you use it to your benefit, it really can be a time of evolution and personal development. So you really should use it to that purpose. And then, so those are the retrogrades. They're literally taking place, like I said, right on top of each other. And at the end of that week of April 10th, on April 15th, the sun in Taurus will be trine Pluto in Capricorn. So that means that at that point, it's good to be open to reinventing yourself. What will the new me look like after it's all said and done? What will the new norm be for me? We know that the future is unknown, but it's always been unknown. So at this point, it's time to, I feel like the shock and awe of everything, it may still be prevalent, but now we're kind of thinking, okay, so now what will the future look like for me? What will I need to start doing moving forward? What ways will I be able to operate or move around differently? And so, and I mean it in a figurative and a literal sense. So it's about, you can use it as an opportunity instead of, oh, I'm gonna have to start over from square one again with my business or with my activities, with my hobbies. You can look at it as an opportunity to switch some things up, do some things that you haven't done before, some things that you've wanted to do but never had the time to do it. This is the time to start tapping into that energy. Okay, so that's that week of May 10th. So much going on, like I said. And then we have with the new moon coming on the week of the 17th, that's taking place on May 22nd, the end of that week. Sun enters Gemini, though, during that week. There will be some disillusionment. And so it's important because there's also, as the sun enters Gemini, the same day on the 20th, Venus in Gemini will be square Neptune in Pisces. And when planets are square, they do clash. And so there will be some disillusionment going on. And it's important once you get to that point to not allow any doubt or any fear of the unknown to kind of have you second guess the decisions that you've made as far as reinventing yourself, because this will piggyback right off of that week, okay? Then as we get to the end of the month, we'll have Mars in Pisces, sextile Uranus in Taurus, and there will be that willingness to grow. So then piggybacking off of that, then you're like, okay, why am I second guessing myself? Let me just open myself up to growing, to evolving, to taking a step out on faith and just seeing what's out there for me, because this is truly the time to do that. I'm someone, I can attest to not really being a risk taker in life, but I'm telling you, now is the time to do it. The atmosphere, the universe is open for it. I feel like the time is ripe for all of those creative juices that you've had flowing. It's time to really tap into that energy and embrace it and see what's out there for you, okay? Now, at the end of the month, we have Mercury entering Cancer. And there will be some compassion towards others that will become the focus. And I know there's a lot of compassion going on right now. It's really time to tap into that energy. I'm not sure what type of business or work that you do, but if you don't already have a business where you're of service to others, this is the time to put your skills to some use. There are ways that you can virtually assist people. There are ways that you can be a blessing to others by, at a far distance, or from a distance rather. So tap into that energy as well. And again, there's no time like the present. So I know that a lot of times it's easier said than done to kind of wallow in or sit in that funk, and to sit in that energy of, what is the world coming to, and what's going to happen in my life? Is it all worth it? But I'm telling you, if you allow yourself the room to free your mind and to open up to the possibility of things, because I feel like at this point, possibilities abound. Instead of looking at it like, everything that's happening is coming down on me and having the weight of it on you, once you release that energy, just let it go. And it really is as simple as that. Just release it, open yourself up, then you'll be more equipped and more able to receive all of the blessings, all of the gifts, all of the energy that the universe has for you, that Mother Earth has for you. So I do want to use my Modern Witch Tarot deck, and we'll tap into what the spirit guides have for us with regard to this time coming for the month of May. I know, like I said, there's a lot of unknown. We don't know, will the lockdown or self-quarantine, how long will it be extended? How long will this virus last? How long will suffering last? But I'm here to tell you, suffering has been going on for a long time. This type of suffering, this specific brand of suffering, it looks different and it feels different, but there has been suffering going on for a long time. And it's just a different style. So when will the suffering end? I feel like that's all relative. Unfortunately, there will always be some form of suffering. It's important for us to do our part to help with the reach that we have to assist others in any way that we can. If you are or feel called to be either a light worker or even a root worker, someone who is has been called to bring a message from the spirit guides, or to help people to make sense of things, to find out their true essence, and to tap into their intuition, then do that. Whether it's one person, 5 people, 1,000,000 people, whatever, whether it's just in your own home, because I feel like a lot of this starts at home. It starts in our own backyards. Definitely tap into that energy and allow that to fuel your fire, to kind of, light your steps so that you can keep going and keep, on this path. So I'm telling you, there's a lot of evolution taking place. And like I said, growth abounds for the month of May. Now let's see what our spirit guides want us to focus on as we enter May. Okay, so we have the Two of Pentacles. Now the Two of Pentacles, there's a lot of balance taking place, and that's balancing your own creativity with the work that you do, balancing your desire, your will, the knowledge that you have with actually expanding on your skill set. There's also a need to collaborate with others. I pulled the Two of Cups recently, and it's all about collaboration. Now is the time to connect with others. We all have our own gifts to bring to the table. So it's about finding that balance and taking time to ourselves as well, but also of being of service to others, okay? Now, let's see what obstacles we may have or may encounter during May. Okay, so Judgment. Now, there's a lot of, this is a self-explanatory card. there is there's a lot of judgment. Unfortunately, I will say that it starts with us. When I mentioned that doubt that comes in, a lot of times we don't feel worthy of the calling that we have. A lot of times we don't feel capable of the work that has been set before us. And that's where the collaboration will come in. That's where you need to, a lot of times, turn within to seek that strength from within, to seek guidance from within through the spirit guides. Also, it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to connect with others so that you can balance each other out. It's okay to just trust your intuition and to not stand in your own way, not feel like, okay, I can't do this because or this isn't the right time because, or the last time I tried to do something, this is what happened. Leave all of the excuses and your own history, your own background, leave that behind you. And not only do not stand in your own judgment, but also do not judge others. I mean, the way that someone else deals with what's going on is their way of coping with it, is their way of dealing with it, of handling it, of getting through it. And where some people need to scream and to outwardly feel and express what's going on inside of them, others turn inward. And there's no right or wrong way. It's about the way that works best for you. So even the advice that I give, I'm giving it from my own perspective. I'm giving it based off of what the spirit guides are giving me to tell you. However, it's all about what works best for you, and kind of being at the place that you're at and figuring it out from your own perspective. There are levels to this, believe that, but there is no, I'm up here and you're down there, or I'm over here and you're over there. That is the way that we have thought up until this point. No one is better than the other. We're all here. We're all in this together. So it's important to not allow any type of judgment or any type of negative energy to interfere. And so some of those interactions that I mentioned with the planets, there will be some times where the way that you relate to others, there's a bit of a clash, but it's important, as long as you know that it's occurring, you know what it is, you can see it for what it is, then you have a way to address it. You have a way to stop it in its tracks and not just go full steam ahead and allow yourself to like just run off a cliff with it. It's about redirecting that energy and figuring out, okay, how can we flip this and work together? Okay. Now, finally, what will the outcome be once we get to the end of May? Okay, we have the Seven of Swords. Now, it's important to note with this card, it typically represents someone who is conquering something, but at what cost? Okay, at what cost? So yes, you're a conqueror. You're getting the job done. You're doing the damn thing. But something that someone said to me, and not really to me, I think it was just an administrator of a job that I had over a decade ago. She said she said that a piece of advice that somebody gave to her early on in her career was it's not necessarily important that you have arrived, that you've gotten to this level or this place. It's about how many bodies you've left behind on that journey. And that's something that has stuck with me for years since then. I mean, that was literally, it might have been about 15 years ago when I heard that. And what has stuck with me about that is it really is about the journey. I mean, it's not about, yeah, I made it. You've clawed your way to the top and you've made it, and how many people you've stepped on or trampled or whatever to get there. Like, that's irrelevant. I got there though. That's the goal. It's about how you did it. It's about the energy that you brought to it. It's about the manner in which you did it. It's about your legacy. It's about your reputation, and not really a reputation in the sense of how, it's all about what other people think about me. Reputation in the sense of your integrity and how you want to be remembered. And so it's important to know that this could easily become a time of every man or woman for themselves. But again, it's all about redirecting that energy. And it should be about coming together and how can we all get through this as a collective and make this work as a collective, because that's really what it's about. And that's really what Mother Earth, that's really what the universe is telling us. If we do not band together, if we don't start working together to make sure that everything is sustainable, everything operates as it should, then that's just, a recipe for disaster. So I would say definitely growth abounds for the month of May, but it only abounds if we do our part, if we put in the work, if we do what we're supposed to do. Tap into those gifts, like I've said, tap into your talents, the hidden ones and the not so hidden ones, the ones you've put on the back burner. Tap into all of that energy and you'd be surprised at all that can happen. So this spring season, let's be literal about it. Let's spring forward. Let's allow there to, things to blossom within us. Let's allow there to be some growth, okay? I'm really looking forward to seeing you all on the other side of May to see how things turn up. Let me just take a little peek and see what June has for us. Well, we have a Mercury retrograde coming up in June. So again, it's definitely all about using the time that we have wisely and to our benefit. So I hope that these videos are of some assistance to you, some help to you to help guide your steps. They're definitely of benefit to me personally. If you have any questions at all or need any additional guidance or would like any assistance with your astrological chart, I do an analysis. You can feel free to visit my Facebook page. It's QueenElle79 and I have services there. Also, if you're interested in a tarot reading, I do those there too. You will find daily card readings from me on my Facebook page as well as Instagram, which is Queen_Elle_79. I do have some other things on the horizon that I'm really looking forward to diving into, so stay tuned for that. I will definitely keep you updated on those things as they develop. Ashe, I really enjoyed communing with you today. Be blessed.